Choosing bottom paint should be simple, but it usually turns into a wall of confusing labels: ablative, hard, hybrid, copper-free, multi-season, freshwater, saltwater, racing paint. So which one do you actually need? If your sailboat lives in the water, the answer depends less on the brand and more on three things: where the boat lives, how it's used, and what paint is already on your hull. Get it right and you save money, you save work and growth on the bottom. Get it wrong and you may be buying barnacles, sanding dust, and a compatibility problem in a very expensive can. The first thing to understand about bottom paint is that you're not actually buying paint, you're buying a controlled release system for poison. That sounds dramatic, but that is what antifouling paint is. It's a coating designed to keep marine growth from attaching itself to underwater parts of a boat. Slime, weeds, barnacles, zebra mussels, tube worms, all the little freeloaders that look at your hull and see a waterfront condo. And the reason this matters is not just cosmetic. A dirty bottom slows the boat down. It increases fuel burn when you motor. It makes the rudder and prop less effective. In bad cases, it can foul and clog your intakes, load up your running gear, and turn a perfectly good sailboat into a damp garden shed with a mast. But choosing bottom paint is confusing because the cans all seem to promise the same thing. They all say that they fight growth. They say that they last a long time. They all have some claim about performance and multi-season protection, easy application, or superior technology. It's like pulling up to the gas pumps that always have sophisticated sounding words on them like Synergy, Invigorate, or Pro Clean. So the useful way to look at this is not which bottom paint is the best bottom paint. The useful question is which bottom paint is best for this boat in this water with this maintenance routine over the paint that's already on the hull right now. That's where the answers start to get a little bit easier. There are a few really big categories of bottom paint, and once you understand those categories, the shelf at the chandlery starts looking less like a riddle from a boatyard goblin. The first category is ablative bottom paint, maybe the most common. Ablative paint is designed to wear away gradually as the boat moves through the water. As that outer layer wears off, it exposes fresh biocide underneath. That means the paint is constantly renewing its active surface instead of just sitting there until the good stuff is gone. For a cruising sailboat that gets used regularly, ablative paint is often the answer. You paint the bottom, the boat moves, the paint slowly polishes itself away, and you don't build up layer after layer after layer of new paint every year like hard paints do. And that last part matters. Old bottom paint can become a real job later. Every spring somebody says, I'll just add another coat. And then 10 years later, it's an inch thick. You could date it with archaeological tools. There's the blue era, the black era, the red era, the year someone got a deal on whatever was left in the clearance bin era. Ablative paint helps reduce that buildup because some of the paint is just wearing away as it works. It's part of the design. A good example of a standard ablative is like Petit Hydro Coat. But there is a catch to ablative. Some ablative paints need movement to work properly. If your boat barely leaves the dock, some ablative paints may not polish the way they're supposed to. So if your boat is mostly stationary or it sits in a high fouling marina and only goes out a few times a season, you need to be careful. A basic ablative might not be the right answer for you because they rely on movement. That brings us to copolymer ablative or self-polishing paints, things like Interlux Micron CSC. These are still in the ablative family, but generally they're more controlled in how they wear. They're often a very good middle ground choice for cruising sailboats because they can provide more consistent performance throughout the season, sometimes even over multiple seasons depending on the product, the water, and how much paint you put on. For a normal cruising sailor, this is often where the conversation starts to get interesting. If you have a fiberglass sailboat that lives in the water, gets used but is not a race boat, and you don't want big paint buildup every year, a good copolymer ablative is often the safe, logical, boring in a good way answer. And boring in a good way is exactly what we want below the waterline. The second big category is hard bottom paint, often called hard modified epoxy. Hard bottom paint doesn't wear away the same way ablative paint does. It stays on the hull and it releases its biocide from the surface over time. The coating remains hard and more abrasion resistant. This can be useful for boats that get scrubbed frequently. If you have a diver cleaning the bottom or you scrub your boat yourself, hard paint will tolerate that better than most soft ablatives. You'll scrub soft ablative right off the hull. It can also make sense for boats that sit a lot, especially in heavy fouling areas, depending on the exact paint and local conditions. But hard paint has its own downside. It builds up over the years. Every coat you add tends to stay there. Eventually, the old layers become too thick, too rough, too uneven, or too incompatible with whatever you want to do next year. Then you're into sanding and scraping and chemical stripping or blasting it away. And nobody has ever said, "Great news, this weekend I get to remove a year-old bottom paint." That's not a weekend, it's a sentence. So hard paint can be the right choice, but it cannot automatically be the better choice. It depends on whether you need that hardness and whether you're willing to deal with the buildup over time. Hard paints come in different flavors too, like Petit Trinidad or Interlux Ultra Coat. The third category is the hybrid paint, something like Petit Vivid. Hybrid bottom paints try to split the difference. They may be harder than a traditional ablative, but still wear away or polish themselves to some degree. Depending on the product, these can be a good option for boats that need more durability, but still want to avoid the endless buildup of paint over the years. This is where reading the specific product sheet matters. Not the front of the can, the actual product sheet. The front of the can is marketing. The product sheet is where the grown-up information lives. Application temperature, dry time, launch window after painting, compatibility with old paints, number of coats, film thickness, whether it can be burnished, whether it can be hauled and relaunched, whether it's safe for aluminum, and what primers or tie coats will be required. This stuff is not decorative. That's the recipe. Ignore it and you may end up with a bottom paint lasagna that peels off in sheets. The fourth category is thin film or racing paint, paints like Petit Black Widow. And if you need a copper-free, especially around aluminum or certain underwater metals, Total Boat Krypton. This is more specialized. Racers care deeply about bottom smoothness. A rough bottom is slow, so performance-oriented paints may be designed to be burnished smooth, especially in freshwater or low-fouling areas. If you're racing and you're prepared to maintain the bottom very carefully, this stuff matters. But for most cruising sailboats, chasing racing paint because it sounds fast is usually the wrong rabbit hole. A cruising boat needs predictable protection. It needs a coating that matches how the boat actually lives its life. If the boat's sitting in warm salt water while you fix things, the fact that the paint could theoretically be polished to a mirror finish is not really the main event. Then we have copper-free and specialty anti-fouling. Copper has been the traditional active ingredient in most bottom paints for a long time, but copper-based paint is not right for everything, aluminum being the big one. You need to be very careful with copper-based anti-fouling around aluminum hulls, aluminum saildrives, aluminum outdrive parts, and certain underwater metals. Put the wrong coating on the wrong metal and you can create corrosion problems that are much worse than marine growth. This is one of those places where my buddy used it and it works fine is not a specification. If you have an aluminum underwater part, or if you're painting near a sail drive, or if your boat is aluminum, you need to follow the paint manufacturer's system exactly. Primer, barrier coat, compatible anti-fouling, the whole chain. Copper-free paints may also matter in areas with environmental restrictions. Some harbors and regions are much stricter than others about what can be used, how you can apply it, and how sanding dust or wash water must be handled. This is not bureaucratic noise. Bottom paint is designed to kill growth. So we shouldn't be surprised that boatyards, marinas, and governments increasingly care about where the dust and runoff go. Now, before we choose a paint type, there's one question that matters more than anything else. What do you already have on the boat? This is where a lot of people get themselves into trouble. You can't always put a bottom paint over any other bottom paint. Some paints aren't compatible and some are. Some need sanding, some need a primer or tie coat. Some old coatings are unknown or unstable or too thick or too soft or contaminated. Some paints can't go over certain other paints unless the old coating is removed or sealed first. So before you fall in love with a new bottom paint, you need to know what's on the hull now. If you have records, great. If the previous owner knows, great. If the boatyard knows, great. If nobody knows, then you're in mystery paint territory. In mystery paint is where decisions change. You may need to test a small area. You may need to sand and see how it behaves. You may need a tie coat. You may need to strip it back if the old system's failing. If the old paint is flaking, peeling, cracking, or coming off on the roller, the new paint is not going to magically fix that problem. Paint sticks to what's underneath. If what's underneath is failing, the new paint is going to fail too. This is also why surface preparation matters so much. People love talking about paint choice. They don't love talking about prep, because prep is where the romance dies wearing a dust mask. But prep is most of the job here. The boat needs to be clean. It needs to be sanded or scuffed according to the product instructions. Loose paint needs to come off. Wax, slime, grease, and sanding residue need to be removed. If you're applying a barrier coat or primer, the timing window matters. If the paint has a maximum launch time, that matters too. Some bottom paints can sit out of the water after painting for a long time. Others have to be launched within a few hours. Some can be hauled and relaunched, some can't, or at least not without sanding or recoating. This is one of the annoying details that's easy to miss and expensive to ignore. So now let's make the decision practical. If you're a typical cruising sailboat owner in normal conditions with a fiberglass boat that lives in the water and gets used throughout the season, you're probably going to be looking first at an ablative or copolymer ablative. That gives you anti-fouling protection, helps reduce paint buildup, and matches the way many cruising boats are actually used. If your boat sits in a high fouling area, but it's cleaned often by a diver, you may want to look at harder or a hard modified epoxy or harder hybrid paint that can tolerate that scrubbing, but you'll always have a clean bottom. If your boat's raced seriously and maintained accordingly, thin filmed or burnishable paint may be part of the conversation. If you have aluminum or a saildrive or special underwater metals, you need to stop shopping by habit and start shopping by compatibility. And if you don't know what paint is already on your hull, the first job is not choosing a paint. The first job is identifying the system you have now, or choosing a safe way to isolate it. And now that we've talked about paints, we have to talk about sealants. This article is a great place to start. Caulks versus mildew. Sitka 291 holds strong after 3 years of exposure. This is a great read if you're doing any of the kind of work this year that involves sealant. I'll leave a link in the description. And while you're here, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out, but also it lets YouTube know that you like sailboat videos, so it'll show you more of them. How cool is that? And hit subscribe so that we can see you again next time.